Have you ever walked through a major city and seen the heartbreaking signs of two crises colliding? On one hand, the deep personal struggle of drug addiction. On the other, the growing problem of environmental pollution. They might seem like separate issues, but they're deeply connected in ways we rarely talk about. Today, we're going to unravel this complex relationship. We'll look at the long-term health effects of drugs, how untreated addiction can lead to homelessness, how that lack of sanitation creates pollution, and most importantly, why this is a massive system failure, not a failure of the people caught within it. First, let's understand what long-term drug use does to the human body. It's not just about the immediate high. It's a slow, silent erosion of a person's health. Over time, drugs fundamentally change our brain chemistry. They hijack the dopamine system, our brain's reward center, making it incredibly difficult to feel pleasure from anything else. This isn't a matter of willpower. It's a physiological change. Memory, decision-making, and impulse control all start to decline. Beyond the brain, vital organs like the liver, heart, and lungs suffer immense damage. The immune system weakens, making the body vulnerable to all sorts of illnesses. The longer an addiction goes untreated, the more it cements itself as a chronic, relapsing health condition, much like diabetes or heart disease. It ceases to be a choice and becomes a medical battle for survival. So, how does this devastating health condition lead to homelessness? Imagine your ability to think clearly, hold a job, and maintain relationships slowly slipping away. Addiction often triggers a domino effect. It can lead to job loss due to poor performance or absenteeism. It strains and breaks relationships with family and friends, who may not have the resources or understanding to help. Mental health often deteriorates, with anxiety, depression, and paranoia becoming constant companions. Now, picture facing all of this without a safety net. In many parts of the United States, there's a severe lack of affordable treatment, accessible mental health care, and stable, supportive housing. Without these crucial resources, a person in the throes of addiction can easily lose everything. They fall through the cracks of a broken system and end up on the streets. This isn't something that happens overnight. It's the tragic endpoint of years of untreated illness and systemic neglect. This brings us to the environmental impact. When people are forced to live outdoors without basic services, pollution becomes an unavoidable consequence. It is important to understand this is not because people experiencing homelessness are intentionally trying to harm the environment. It's because they lack the fundamental infrastructure the rest of us take for granted. Think about it. No regular trash collection, no access to toilets, no reliable source of clean water, and no safe way to dispose of medical waste like needles. The result is a predictable buildup of litter, human waste in public areas, and discarded paraphernalia that can contaminate soil and water. The pollution we see is a direct symptom of a lack of services. It's what happens when a society fails to provide the most basic human necessities to its most vulnerable members. It's an infrastructure problem, not a people problem. The public health and environmental consequences of this are massive. Unmanaged waste creates a breeding ground for bacteria and diseases, posing a risk not only to the unhoused population, but to the entire community. It attracts pests, further degrading public spaces. Contaminants from waste can seep into our waterways, affecting ecosystems and potentially our drinking water. In response, cities often spend millions of dollars on cleanup efforts, sweeps, and power washing that offer a temporary fix. But this is like trying to mop up a flood while the pipe is still broken. It addresses the symptom, the pollution, without ever touching the root cause. It's a costly, inefficient cycle that fails to solve the underlying human crisis. For decades, the default response to these issues has been criminalization, arresting people for drug use, for sleeping in public, for existing without a home. But this approach has proven to be a resounding failure. Punishment does not treat addiction. A jail cell is not a recovery center. Fines and a criminal record only create more barriers to finding housing and employment, pushing people further into the cycle of poverty and homelessness. It doesn't reduce pollution. It just temporarily moves it from one block to another. The cities that are actually seeing progress are the ones shifting their perspective. They are investing in solutions, not just punishment. This means robust treatment programs, accessible mental health services, and housing-first models, which recognize that people need a stable home before they can effectively address their health issues. The data is clear. When we lead with compassion and support, we see lower rates of drug use, cleaner streets, and reduced costs for emergency services and healthcare. So here's the final truth we need to face. Yes, drugs cause long-term, devastating damage. Yes, homelessness creates significant environmental strain. But the people caught in this cycle are not the problem. The real problem is a system that allows it to happen. The problem is untreated addiction, a broken healthcare system that is inaccessible to those who need it most, and a severe lack of affordable housing solutions. We have spent too long blaming the victims of a failed system. It's time to fix the system itself. When we provide treatment, healthcare, and housing, we don't just solve one problem. We find that public health, community safety, and environmental cleanliness all improve together. That's the path forward. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues that shape our world.